Well, happy Tuesday to you. How are you doing? Trust the day is strange. Got to tell you, we'll be talking about a couple things today. One about magic. Now, when I say the word magic, what comes to mind? Mystic, spooky, occultive, good, bad, black, white. Yeah, a lot of misconceptions on that. But what we're going to discover is that each and one of us, every day, we actually work in magic. Yeah, we speak it, we perform it, and it's all around us. The other thing is, as the more and more I see the world, I did watch President Trump this morning give his address to the UN. All I can say is, whoa! I mean, whoa! You know, I like a man who will tell you exactly like it is. One that you don't have to try to figure out what is he talking about. Do I got to read between the lines? Well, what's the guy saying? I like it in the movie True Love. And Christopher Watkins was in there with Dennis Hopper. And it's a classic scene. Dennis Hopper's getting the living crap beat out of him. In fact, he's about to die. And Christopher Watkins is this like the strong arm of the local godfather. And after they've tortured Dennis Hopper for, a couple hours, Watkins comes up and they start this dialogue. And Watkins tells Hopper, in the character he's playing, he says, "You know what?" He says, "You're talking a lot, but you're not saying nothing." And for most politicians, that's what you hear. I'll say this, whether you like Donald Trump or not, he's a straight shooting individual. Tell it like it is. And hey, Rocket Man, let me tell you what, dude, you best be taking the Don straight. Most remarkable speech I've seen. I can still remember Kennedy's speech on the the Cuban crisis. And distinctly remember sitting in the den of our house with my grandparents there in Santa Clara. I remember the great speech that Ronald Reagan gave when he talked about, what if there was an alien race? That classic speech. Those are the ones that will go down in history. What we saw today, it'll go down. Which brings me up to the next point, reality. As I was watching that, I got this distinct feeling that, have you ever been in a situation where you're watching things, right? But you're watching actually not from the first person's perspective, but you're actually watching it from the third person. It's like you're seeing yourself in the situation, but you are not in it and you're just looking at it. That's the kind of feeling I had while I was watching the speech from the president, because there's been no other speech like this where you have the leader of the free world, the greatest superpower ever built, and he's calling out exactly what needs to be called out. Amazing. So I keep on thinking that this age that has closed and this new one we're coming in, I was meditating this morning, and the image I got, because my mind was immediately drawn to this ages. Let me tell you this. We are in a closing, an entrance, and it's never a smooth transition. Never. I can't find any evidence. It's always met with turmoil because one is losing, the other is gaining. And the one that had is not wanting to let loose. You can see that representative in the collective consciousness of humanity today. We are split. It's as though we have this spell that's been cast over us, that most people, all they see is division. It's like they're viewing the world through optics of purple. And blackness. Then there's others who see an ever glowing, it's the most beautiful, translucent blue white. That's how I see it. And the thought came to me, we really need to understand this. We're going to try to get Lavette back on. We're going to have a guest on tonight, Tamu. We want to get the people who helped us see it, Heidi, because we need help in really apprehending more than anything, what this really means of a closing of an age. We're living it. It's like what we think of reality, how it's supposed to be, it's not. I'm reading several books right now that what they're discovering in archaeology today is going to rewrite our history. You and I, ladies and gentlemen, may be the generation, maybe the generation to witness the spell being broken. You see, something happened in our past that was so traumatic, so terrible, so devastating that it impacted our species. We invoked an amnesia. Whatever our ancestors saw, it was so terrible that it had almost a permanent effect on our collective consciousness. We don't know our past. The past that we've been taught is not the correct one. You know, I know a couple of you got a little wrapped around the old axle yesterday when I said, show me God. Come on, folks. Let's get real about this. It's all up here. Now, people say, I got one email, and rather terse, telling me that all I have been doing is just basically recycling. I won't use the words that we're using, but the humanistic approach that man is superior. And I wrote back and I said, damn right I am. Because your whole mantra is that God lives within us and you should be able to see God in everything. That's not God. That's the creative life force, not God. And I still contend, if there's a God out there, show up. Because humanity has got a few things to discuss with them. It, who, what. So don't come back at me and say that I'm some sort of devil. The only devil is the devil that lives in you and me. You see, I contend that the Creator, the infinite being, is demanding that humanity grow up, take responsibility for ourselves. We have the creative ability within us. We should be creating worlds right now, not trying to create our own destruction. That's what we're doing. So it was a remarkable speech. We'll see. The world will have some reaction to it. Okay, now, what I am going to show you next, and I want to thank Vicky for this. Sunshine, appreciate you sending this. It was a good find you did, because it's going to show all the rest of us magic. Now, what do you think the status quo, the establishment, thinks about magic? You want to know something? They believe in it more than you do because it's working for them. Don't think that's correct? All right, what am I talking about? Let me show you. Okay, so this is what was sent in. Are you ready for this? The 114th Congress, as you can see, this has been certified by the Superintendent of Documents over at the gpdo.gov, United States. This is the second session, House Resolution 642, recognizing magic as a rare and valuable art form and national treasure. That's what it says. The United States Congress has proclaimed before the world and its citizenry that magic is a rare and valuable art form. Let's go on. Now, this was from the Honorable Mr. Sessions from the state of Texas, Mr. Strivers, Mr. Meehan, Mr. Donovan, Mr. Dent, Mr. Simpson, and Mr. Buck. Mr. Buck was from Colorado. No, he wasn't. All right, submitted the following resolution who referred to the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Okay, resolution recognizing magic as a rare and valuable art form and national treasure. Whereas magic is an art form with a unique power and potential to impact the lives of all people. Whereas magic enables people to experience the impossible. Whereas magic is used to inspire and bring wonder and happiness to others. Whereas magic has had a significant impact on other art forms. Whereas magic, like the great art form of dance, literature, theater, film, and the visual arts, allows people to experience something that transcends the written word. Yeah. Maybe J.J. Rowling's had something there. Maybe Harry Potter really is a place that there is such a place called Warthog, huh? Whereas many technological advances can be directly traced to the influential work of magicians. Yeah. Welcome to the world of the real, Neo. Whereas futurist Arthur C. Clarke claimed that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Whereas one of the greatest artists of all time, Leonardo da Vinci, was inspired by magic and co-wrote one of the very first books on magic in the late 15th century. Wow. So what is your opinion on magic? Do you think it is, in fact, real? Do you think, in fact, that it has possibilities of potential? Do you think it exists? Yeah. So I went into my library on what is considered to be the occult and just pulled out a couple. You know, I have over 200 books now and amassing more on magic, spells. Let me just state for the record, all of us, you, me, we cast spells every day. Every day. And we're living by them. Most of us were under the greatest of all spells, the God spells. And I mean, that's a mind coitus that will just continue to jack with you. So here's one, the art and practice of Kabbalah magic. Every religion has its mystics. The Knight Templars were taught by the last mystic of Islam, who was taught by the Egyptians, the last of their priests, who were taught by Mesopotamians, Sumerians. The same thing with the Hebrews. There's a lot that we don't understand about the ancient Hebrews. They were a very mystic people. Good evidence is showing that the history that most of us think is not that history at all. You'll feel? I'm just going to kind of show you just a couple that they do exist. There are spells, folks, each and every one of us can use. It's been around. Let me just get to the Christian side of the audience. Now, I studied for over 40 years, so I am at least eligible to come up to the podium. Throughout the Old Testament, even the New, talks about spells, divination. The lot is cast. Whether it's bones, whether it's sticks, dye. It's an ancient practice that is still used today. And today, the knowledge seeker can find this knowledge. It's there. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. All right, here's another one. A practical guide to witchcraft and magic spells. Now, as I read, they're the ones that I take the most serious. Is not so much the new writings, and they're interesting, but I focus in on those who teach alchemy. And alchemy is not, it's not this what we've been led to believe, changing lead into gold. It's about the transformation of your consciousness. That's true alchemy. And true alchemy uses the elements, the 4 elements. They all have the life force in them. And that's the thing. Now, when I said that we all use magic, well, we do. Each and every one of us. Many people are master magicians in many ways and in casting spells upon themselves. Do you know why curse words? I'll get to this near the end. I'm going to show you how you can determine what are words of life and what are words of what I call de-evolving. All right. The true art of healing. Every one of us have the ability to heal. Now, there are gifters, right, that have a special gift that they can, in fact, lay hands on people and people can get healed. But we all have that gift in a measure. It's just a matter of what you've been taught. Listen, our Core 100 group, what we are about is mastering that which we all possess already. Because regardless of whether you want to believe it or not, you use these same principles every day. You can't escape it. It's who and what we are. Here's an interesting read. Hidden secrets attract everything you want. You can do this. You really can. It's amazing what you see in your life. 99% is what you have generated. Now, I know a lot of you are in very difficult situations, but it can change. It can change very quickly, and you don't have to be dependent on some outside influence, some unseen deity that, well, be honest, it's like, well, if your number just happens to be the one, you're going to get your prayers answered today. You hit the jackpot. I mean, it really is that way. Here's another one. This is the book of the laws of the dead. I found this and I'm actually reading it, and you can see how when it was actually written in 1562. And I find a lot of what I'm reading in the area of alchemy, learning how to use the secret arts. They had a different mindset back in the 1500s. I got one book that was reportedly put together right around the 900, and it would have been an interesting conversation around the table. That'd have been for sure. But let me just say about this, about the Book of the Dead. My good friend Jeffrey Doherty over at the Christian Whistleblower. If you're not subscribed to him, go over there and subscribe to him. He's doing a good study on the Western Book of the Dead. And listen, folks, no matter what your view is on the afterlife, now is the time to begin to prepare. How do you know that you didn't prepare coming into this life? Was it just a random thing? Your parents? You being in where you are at? No. So, as the Egyptians believed with their Book of the Dead, which actually originated from a much earlier time, nearly 1,000 years earlier, that was actually taken from secret knowledge in preparing the way into the afterlife, knowing the right incantation, the right spell to use as you made through that passage to get to where you were going to see where you're going to end up. So the Book of the Dead is actually the book of the living. So this is really an interesting book. It truly is. So I'm back. Magic. So what's your opinion? We have the United States Congress acknowledging magic is a national treasure. All you master magicians out there, high five. Every Sunday there is tremendous magic being performed. It's true. Today, the magic that humanity has brought on is a very bad magic. We created this. I told you a couple of minutes ago, I was going to tell you how you could tell the difference between life words and death words. So life words are, let's just say, peace, harmony, love, family. Those are called, and I actually learned this from a rabbi, those are called the words of breath, life. They worship their God using that specific way. Now, what are words of death, or what they call words of the body? I can't use, let's say, bitch, jerk, coitus you. I'll use that word instead. Coitus yours. You hear that? It comes from the gut. And the gut is where digestion takes place. It's guttural. It's words that carry a low frequency. They're dense. And when you say, you effing idiot, or you say to yourself, I am just a blank loser. I can't do anything right. Everything I touch just goes up. You see what I'm saying? You tell to your kids, you sorry, blah, blah, blah. You dumbass. You can't do anything right. Can't you let you see? And then when we start getting in collectively to the hate, you know, this side's against that side, and now the races are against each other, and we have magic going on. We're casting spells. We're creating the environment that we don't want to live in. Someone wrote to me yesterday and said, again, they sent me a video and I responded back. It was a yogi saying, well, given a story about how the girl wanted to see God. And he went through this whole thing, and that, you know, the answer was that God lives within you and God lives everywhere. I'm not downplaying that. Listen, there is an infinite being. I don't call him God. I don't call it a sex. The greatest thing that's happened in this dark, dark spell that our species has been under is that we have diminished the feminine. Most of the top religions today completely diminish the feminine. And you know, that's been the problem. We're like this. Why do you think more women are drawn to what they call occultism? And by the way, occult just is defined of that's what's not being accepted. There's nothing wrong with the occult. Get that out of it. It's just a word. Now, if you want to go along with the fact that, yes, there's good and bad. Are there evil spirits? No doubt. Are there good ones? No doubt. But you're a spirit. And what you have to realize is that you have the power. You have the control. Yeah. That's what it takes. You have it. So remember that. You got that power. And we're going to get more into it. The next installment on The Secret Knowledge is going to be dealing with this subject. These shards of sacred knowledge, they're everywhere. And the thing about it is, it's not just the so-called secret or the elite. Today, we can go to the altar of knowledge, and the great thing about it is, the homage that we have to give to it is just to give it recognition. That new deity, and it is a new deity, it meets all the descriptors, is called Google. True. Google is the repository of knowledge. You can find everything there, folks, and it's being added to all the time, good or bad. So, interesting topic. Let me know how you feel about this. Is magic, do you believe in it? Do you practice it? Do you want to know more about it? Do you find that, has anyone really taught you as a master magician? Have they shared with you the rites, the secrets? You see, each and every one of us literally can call into manifestation anything we desire. Now, it's just not like that. It doesn't work that way. It requires time, discipline, but you can do it. And you'd be surprised how you become really good at it. You know, this is a little off the subject, but I say to any of the president, anyone in Congress, anyone throughout the country, we need to stop this thing of putting people through college. Listen, half the people in college don't belong there, got no business there. Where they do belong are in the other disciplines. Vocational secondary schools. We should have schools that are dedicated strictly to the arts, not the arts that the colleges want to rule. I'm talking about the arts of the occult, of the soul, of ascension. We should be training journeymen right now who will be assisters on the helping of the ascension of the collective of mankind, humanity. That's where we should. Most of the universities today are not there, but they no longer serve their purpose. They don't. Trust me, I've hired a lot of you so-called MBAs. I told a couple of you, you need to go back and get your money back. They screwed you. It's true. Can't tell you how many. You hire them, and within about 2 weeks, you're going, you went to graduate school? You see, my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Buttons, wherever she is on her journey, she's been there for a while. And she told me, she said, Dwayne, always remember, an ounce of common sense will outdo a pound of book learning any day. And it's true. The thing that I find is probably the rarest in society today is common sense. It's becoming so rare. I mean, some of the knucklehead things that you see people doing today, you're just going, what happened? But we can change that, and we will. Okay, so that was today's. I'll be doing a guest interview with Tamu. She will be on later. I'll introduce you to her. We're getting other people lined up. Listen, I really want to as well, because this is a community here. All of you are. Is to help us continue to break out of these places that, it's like, the iPet Go-To, the barbed wire around the head. We got to get our souls free. We got to get our minds free. Listen, religion is dying. It is. I just read a report that the exodus taking place in the established religions has got them worried, because at the rate of departure, and you know who the largest percentages are? Oh, baby boomers. Yeah. Looks like maybe the 60s and 70s wasn't so bad after all. It actually has a lingering effect. Many baby boomers they have seen through the so-called church. And it seems like now that there is this effect that's going through the other generations. Church, you're on notice. They're leaving because you've been proven to be a liar. How many thousands of years did you really think that humanity was going to buy the snake oil that you were selling? We woke up. And that goes for the rest of the religions. You didn't do humanity any favor. Bottom line of it is this. If you can't show tangible proof that there is effective change coming from what you're doing, but you continue to do that same thing, insisting that it's going to bear a different result, but it never does. And you can give yourself as Edison did, in trying to determine to get a light bulb to work. That's fine. But after you've had 2,000 years, no, that's called insanity. That's what it's called. And I believe humanity is waking up to that. I still say no God wants to be worshiped. I mean, really? Do you think a true God really, that's what its whole existence is? No, I believe the infinite creator is wanting us to be like it, creators of our own. And until we can stop creating our own hell and start creating an elevated consciousness for all the races, I think we're doomed to continue to repeat this cycle, and a cycle it's been. All right, have yourself a great day. Remember, it's in you. You're special. My God, if you only knew the potential in you. You've just been beaten down. Well, we're going to raise it up. Okay? All right, be kind to one another. We will talk soon.